everyone, welcome back to Obscurus Lupa Presents. Want to see another long-ass series? Well, I've hinted about the Witchcraft movies for long enough, you're probably wondering just what the hell I've been talking about. In the history of long-ass movie series, here you'll find the champion of them all. It is one of the longest and the assiest. The Witchcraft movies are a crowning achievement of shit, one that is a fascinating watch if you have the wherewithal to buy and view all of the films in the franchise. If you'll step into the Wayback Machine with me for a minute, you might recall me reviewing a movie called Witchery starring David Hasselhoff and Linda Blair. The film has about 1,000 alternate names, including witchcraft. The movie I'm talking about today is unrelated, but very similar. Both of them involve babies, women in nightgowns, witches, and a lot of meandering shots disguised as atmosphere. Released the same year as Witchery and put out direct-to-video, Witchcraft was made with one purpose in mind: ripping off Rosemary's Baby. And having made it 2 decades after Rosemary's Baby was released, the film is nothing if not timely. But really, that's not the reason I'm talking about it today. Truth be told, the movie is fairly unremarkable, and if anything, it's a bit of a chore to get through. But the payoff to this thing is entirely worth it when you get to the sequels, and to get to that, I have to give you a little bit of history. Basically, the movie was only meant to be a cheap cash-in, with a first-time director, first-time writer, and a minuscule budget. The longevity of the Witchcraft series was mainly due to 2 things. First and foremost, it was a way to rent porn without actually renting porn, since a lot of it is an excuse for chicks to get naked. This only happens in the sequels, however, which brings me to the second reason the series took off, and that was the trend of making a franchise out of anything. In 1988, video store rentals were hugely popular and a very profitable franchise for small productions. It was mostly a quantity over quality situation. As long as you attached a recognizable name to a movie, regardless of whether or not said movie had anything to do with the franchise it took its namesake from, you'd get people watching and make a quick buck. I'm happy to say that in the case of the Witchcraft sequels, there is a continuing story, which makes the series all the more hilarious. If you know me, you'll know that I love long-running movie series. There's just something fascinating about different directors, writers, and actors all trying to tell pieces of the same story. And believe me, when the story you're trying to tell centers around mostly softcore porn, it's going to have some holes in it. The main point I've been wanting to get to, and the whole reason I've been itching to review this series, is this. There are 13 Witchcraft movies. Yes, you heard me right. 13. Hot dog! I'm in bad movie heaven. Unfortunately, in order to get to Witchcraft 2 to 13, I have to talk about Witchcraft 1. If I hadn't been -1 years old in 1988 and someone had told me that this movie would spawn one of the best bad movie franchises ever, I probably wouldn't believe them. It's just so slow. It really does remind me of the Hasselhoff-Blair vehicle, but at least that one had star power and a silly old lady to carry it through. Not to mention the Doctor Who portals at random intervals. Anyway, Witchcraft begins in the year of 1687? Oh yeah, that house is totally from the year 1687. No really, please believe us. Ye old director's living room! Everyone got your old-timey robes on? Oh well, a hoodie is close enough, I guess. Our main character is Grace Churchill, who is having a vision of a man and a woman being turned into silly putty at the stake. A grim fate indeed. Grace lives in the present day, or the present being 1988, and is having her baby William. William will become a great man, a legend, a character played by 8 actors over the span of 13 movies. Has a penchant for pooping and crying this time around. Grace's husband is John, played by Gary Sloane, an actor who's mostly known for his theater work nowadays. He's been in Shakespearean productions, including Hamlet and Julius Caesar, but truly his best role was the dad in Witchcraft, where he got to wear a silly Dracula cape. I feel no shame in spoiling this, because we could all use some more Dracula cape in our lives. Aw, that's sweet. Hey, remember those 2 people being graphically burnt alive about 2 minutes ago? Oh man, Grace's BFF Linda wants to go in and see the baby, but only immediate family can come in. Sound off the laugh track, this film's gonna be a riot. Oh, a wipe transition even? You slay me. No, seriously, what the fuck is this? Do we even care if she gets to see the baby now or not? Does this have any bearing on anything that'll happen in the movie?
Oh, you just missed him. Oh, shit.
Well, here's your requisite wheelchair to leave the hospital, and you're off. John and Grace are moving in with John's mother, Elizabeth, to help take care of the baby. Grace isn't comfortable with this idea, but she agrees to stay for a week. That house really needs a paint job! Suburban middle-class America. Dun dun dun.
Well, shall we take our little prince up to his nursery?
Yes. Shall we go, little William?
Yeah, eat it, lady.
Come on. Have some tea. Now, don't be a baby. I never liked it much either, but it's good for you.
Hey, you were the one who insisted on it, pal. Hey, you notice the guy kind of talks like the villain in Vampire Cop? Another Vampire Cop reference. Zing! It's kind of fitting since that movie was directed at the same kind of audience as the Witchcraft rentals. People who are embarrassed to rent porn, but still okay with renting something called Vampire Cop, I guess? Now I'm going to leave all of the toilet seats up. Grace has a dream that two Dracula types are hanging out by an altar in the yard, having just sacrificed a poodle to, I don't know, let's just say Vanilla Ice. One of them turns around and, to the shock of absolutely no one, it's the mother-in-law. To give the movie credit, I do like the camera work and lighting here. The dad's still dressed like the Count, but, you know, it looks neat. Oh, did I spoil that it's the dad? Yeah, I know, big shocker since only two dudes have been introduced into the movie so far. I mean, guess it could have been the baby. Plus the big hair is kind of a giveaway. Why is he acting like the baby is a mirror? Well, time for some walking around ominous music. Don't get tired of that. She is rocking those genie pants, am I right? Here's the weird thing about this movie. It spends about 90% of it focusing on how uncomfortable Grace is, but they never really establish why. As the audience, we know something is up with John and his mother, and presumably the house because it was in the opening sequence, but the movie never bothers to establish why Grace is so uneasy. She says she won't be comfortable staying in her mother-in-law's house, but she never elaborates on that. Shots linger and scary music plays, but nothing is really that spooky, and outside of dream sequences, no one really does anything all that suspicious. There's no reason for Grace to be uncomfortable yet. The angle the movie tries to take is for the audience to guess whether these suspicions are just in Grace's mind or if the threat is real, except the movie is called Witchcraft. Its tagline is, after 300 years, they are back. We already know it's real. It kinda negates, well, everything in the movie, doesn't it?
Who are you?
Just a creepily mute butler, the usual. Comes standard with spooky old mansions.
I don't believe you've met Ellsworth, our butler.
Oh yeah, of course his name is Ellsworth. Every butler has to have an extra butlery name. Like Weatherby or Buttenheim or whatever.
We don't use this part of the house. It really isn't safe. I think we should go.
Ah, now comes me time.
Sweet child.
Yes, yes.
I assume this is the creepy old people baby celebration party? Quick everyone, sit in a circle and be vaguely foreign. Grace has asked Father James to bless William, so he stops by to have a brief synthesizer and shitty filter attack. Must be seeing them in Priesto-vision. Hopefully the flies don't tell him to get out so he can exorcise Regan and, oh, I guess he just throws up in the toilet. An evil toilet? That damn music keeps following him around. You do not want to see what this guy's like at church bake sales.
I found this in the garden. I thought you might like it.
No.
I'll leave it here for you.
Wait, when did this happen? Did he get that from the toilet or what?
These things are so much fun.
Yeah, like toys or cars or other inanimate objects. Where can I buy one? Grace is attacked with random flashbacks of the days when she was a point of view shot and her father killed her mother and committed suicide. I'm assuming he also missed her baseball games and that created a childhood trauma for her. She worries that insanity runs in the family, but again, we as an audience already know that the witches are real. It's only slightly less interesting than Howling 4 acting like werewolves were a shocking twist again. You know, I really hope her parents' deaths are supposed to be related to the witches. Otherwise, setting up the insanity red herring like this was a little bit overkill, don't you think? I mean, come on, he decapitated her and posed her like that before hanging himself? Do something! Yeah, this is a pretty grim movie. It moves about at the pace of backwards. What I remember most about this thing is Grace walking down hallways and looking pensive, and that's not a good sign if that's the most interesting thing about your film. I mean, holy crapola, this film attempts to pass off eating steak as something scary. This dinner scene goes on in near silence for nearly 3 minutes. I can feel myself aging. Something happen! Please! Hallelujah! It's like the sound of angels. Now that someone has died, we can finally get the ball rolling. Grace explains to Julie that she saw the father hang himself in the mirror upstairs. This was news to me. I'll show you how it played out in the film.
Grace.
Crystal clear, right?
I've seen other things too.
Grace, you're worrying me.
See? Look at the worry on my face. Well, guess that's cleared up. She asked John about it before leaving, and gee whiz, the mom is watching her and looking creepy. Ominous looks, the movie! Time for the big sex scene. Oh, damn it, witch blocked. Nah, just kidding, they do it later. Armpit hair massage? Oh, movie, you titillate us.
I just need to go home.
We can't. There was a fire. We lost everything.
Oh yeah, no big deal. Just thought I'd drop that bomb on you as nonchalantly as possible. That's not really an oh by the way kind of thing, dude. He tells her the fire happened about a week ago, but when she goes to the house, she finds out from a neighbor that it just happened the night before. Maybe you could have changed your lie, man. Would have made more sense than telling her you've been lying to her for a week. Grace goes looking for John to confront him about it when this happens. Oh no, it's too stupid! This is when the movie decides the pace is going just a little too quickly and has her pass out due to spontaneous wrist slicing. Fuck, something was actually happening! Well, time to show Grace meandering down the hall again. You know, I have some taxes I could be doing right about now. She hears Linda's voice and finds the cross she gave her in a chest, waking up to reveal it's yet another freaking dream sequence. However, she still has the cross in her hand, making things even more nonsensical. So is she magical, or are they implying that the witches just stole the cross from Linda's house and planted it there for Grace to find? Did she sleepwalk back into the bed? Supposedly Linda was sleeping next to her. I don't get it.
You scared me.
There can only be one culprit. Grace's father risen from the dead. Wait, so they hung up the head for her to find? On what? Did they find some fishing line for this? Luckily for us, Grace finds the Doctor Who dimension from Witchery and makes her way down to find John and Elizabeth with William. Most importantly, John's in his silly Dracula cape. 1, 2 dead bodies. It turns out the two of them are reincarnations of John and Elizabeth Stockton, two lovers who were accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake. And reincarnated as mother and son. Ew. Also, real clever with the names there. I never would have guessed John and Elizabeth were John and Elizabeth. They want William because he's supposedly got supernatural powers, and I guess is the reincarnation of their previous son. My question is, why did John and Elizabeth need Grace in the first place? I mean, let's not pretend like the mother and son thing would bother them. They're evil and stuff. Why not cut out the middleman? And why bother leading her on at all? Why don't they just kill her? What's the point of this whole movie? It's kind of stupid, is what I'm saying. And why are they aware of who they were in a past life? Is this just a witch thing, or did something happen and John suddenly realized he really wanted to bone his mom? I feel like some key information is missing here, and we could have spent more time on this and less time on dramatic steak eating. They prepare to sacrifice Grace for some purpose, which makes me question why they slit her wrists earlier, and they've kind of written themselves into a corner, so this happens. No, it's not dumb. They foreshadowed it earlier with the stupid flower thing. I guess this whole time he was just looking for someone to be nice to him. He was a good guy after all. A creepy mute butler with a heart of gold. Okay, now that just doesn't make any sense. Elizabeth kills Ellsworth because makes it easy. Now the audience will never know his fascinating backstory. It's almost as if they had no other characters to work with. Weird, huh? Huh, I guess that was overbearingly easy. Thanks, Witchcraft. The ending was worth it. It wasn't worth it. So that's the first Witchcraft movie. I promise it gets much, much better. If I could give the film some credit, the actors aren't bad and some of the shots are neat, but no one has much to work with. It's a boring hodgepodge of other popular horror movies, but fails to capture the suspense or terror of any particular thing. With the exception of a few laughable lines, there's not much to offer here. It's only worth a view if you're a completist. We've got nowhere to go but up, but oh how far it ascends. Next week, it's Witchcraft 2.
Oh, you just missed him.